Hey everyone, welcome back to my personal channel, Socials Awkward. My name is David Vidal, and this is a custom shift knob. Let's go. I love how the Campagna team in Montreal continues to innovate. It seems to me that they spend the bulk of their time on the big things like performance, ride quality, longevity, which are all super important. However, some of the little things kind of slip through the cracks, and one of those is the stock shift lever. Don't get me wrong, the stock knob feels great, it functions well, and has a really cool minimalistic look to it. Yet, most riders would love to have the option of switching this out with something that works a little better for them or matches their aesthetic. I can think of two really easy solutions. The first is obvious, just thread this shaft and screw the stock cap on. The second might be a little more complicated. They could make the shaft a little easier to remove so that it could be modified on a workbench instead of within the cockpit. In any case, this is what we've got. Durend Burnside at Trexcite of Atlanta graciously sent me this carbon fiber shift knob, and wow, does it feel great. I'm so thankful to have purchased my TRex from Durend. Not only is he a great person, but the aftercare has been unbelievable. He calls me to talk TRex, answers all my questions, and has everything you need to make yours just the way you want it. And as cool as this one is, I wanted to zhuzh it up just a little bit before installing it, so off to the computer to draft up an arrow, which I sent to my local shop and had some vinyl cut. Now, while that was being done, I got started on painting the cosmetic ring on the bottom. This ring serves two purposes. It looks cool, and it hides the mounting hardware. It appears like this one was red originally, and someone gave it a quick shot with some black paint. I wanted mine to pop, so I needed to add some paint of my own. But wait, you can't just paint on paint on paint. So I took out the Dremel and sandaled this down to bare metal, and then got it back up to 400 grit. Once that was complete, it needed some high-quality primer, a bit more sanding, and then a few layers of paint, baking each coat at 230 degrees for an hour and a half. The process took about 3 days for a ring that barely fits over my finger. Once I got my hands on these arrows, it was back to the ball to apply the vinyl. In case you're wondering, the arrow is a nod to Nickelodeon's The Last Airbender, which is the theme of my TRex. If you haven't watched the series, I strongly recommend it. Try not to mistake this for a kid's show just because it's animated. The story is quite complicated, and the character arcs rival any great series. Honestly, life-changing. Anyways, it took a couple tries, but once I landed that arrow where I wanted it, I used the heat gun to stretch it out and lock it down. And now for the part that I was intentionally putting off. Surgery. I prepped the TRex by taking out the seats and the seat pads, then covered the cockpit with plastic and taped off the shift knob and clamped it for some extra stability. Although, because of its precarious position, I'm not sure how much that helped. Finally, I cut a hole in a fire blanket and laid that over the plastic. I wasn't worried about sparks, but these blankets are thick and soft and provide a lot of protection. I knew which tool to use after testing the shifter with a strong magnet. A good rule of thumb for cutting metal is that if a magnet sticks to it, you'll need a cutting wheel. If it doesn't stick to it, you can use an oscillating multi-tool or a hacksaw or a coping saw. Initially, I thought about using a hacksaw for control, but it was just too big and the shifter a bit too thick, so I went with this battery-operated Milwaukee oscillating multi-tool instead. I purchased a nice metal cutting blade, set the tool at 6, and took my time making sure I was straight and level. This was my most stressful mod to date on account of the cutting, but now that it's done, I'm really happy with it. I hit it with a file to remove any burrs or sharp spots and kept it low and tight, but I always have the option of removing this knob and tacking on a piece of all thread if I want the screw down kind. Before mounting the knob, I marked the shaft and drilled very shallow divots for the Allen screws to sit, so I wasn't just relying on a pressure fit. This material is very soft and easy to work with as far as metal goes, and as luck would have it, those Allen screws landed perfectly. Once the ball was mounted and locked into place, I installed the cosmetic ring on the bottom, and here's how it turned out. I'm really happy with how it looks and feels, and if you can believe it, this knob is actually way more fun to shift and to operate. It feels great in the hand, and it's easy to grab onto. But you don't have to make all this extra effort. You can install one of these right out of the box if that's your jam. It's gonna look great, and you'll love it. Durend Burnside at Trexcite of Atlanta has this style of shift knob and any other that you can dream up, so give him a call and tell him that I sent you. You'll be thankful that you did. This was nerve-wracking for sure, but Durend gave me all the support I needed and more. Make sure to comment below and tell us what kind of mods that made you squirm the most and which mods you're avoiding entirely. Thanks for watching. Remember, be nice and ride safely. I'll see you out there.